This podcast is sponsored by Camera Museum of London at 44 Museum Street. Welcome to a Fish Out of Water podcast. This is your host, Richard Lipman. Today, we're interviewing Carlos Gallardo and Elliot Grove.
I'm gonna talk, and she is the one that takes over all that stuff.
I have plenty
And it's the
control.
same. And I'll be there. I mean, I'm part
So
of
I
it.
tell the camera what to do. That's the difference. Scratch people. And I tell them, they grab one of these
Make
ones
sure you
and
see
say,
Red
I am a
Con.
photographer.
It's an action film. It's not a horror film.
It's
It's
really
not
difficult.
they're zombies, but
Okay,
it's an action film. So it's not scary. And the Mariachi didn't squint much, but he was a young kid. I think I have to give you that character that I'm older, I'm more mature.
Sir, may I ask your full name and profession, please?
Carlos Gallardo, or Carlos Gallardo, or Carlos Gallardo.
And what is your profession?
I'm an actor, producer.
What brings you to Raindance?
Well, I was invited. Thank you to Elliot and David. We were invited as a group to come and be part of this beautiful rain dance, and I'm very honored to be here, and to showcase El Mariachi and showcase Redcon. So that's why we're here. To promote Redcon 1, which is opening tonight, and to show the very first film. And I did forget to talk about. There is a link between El Mariachi and Redcon. The same song that I sing in El Mariachi, I'm gonna sing it in Redcon, but you have to wait until the end with the credits.
And tell us about El Mariachi, you, Carlos Gallardo, and
Yes.
Robert Rodriguez. What's the relationship?
We're friends from high school. We met when we were freshmen, and we started making films when we were about 14 years old, and we haven't stopped since then.
Are you still friends?
Of course, we just shot a film. We just shot another film for $7,000. They've spoken already about it in El Rey Network, but that's all I can tell you right now.
Of course. Can you tell us what were the most difficult and humorous moments when making El Mariachi?
Some of my friends would show up to shoot, and then the next day some of them were too drunk or too hangover to show up, and in some of the scenes some of them are really not there because of the editing. You can't tell. That was one of the challenges, and I think just asking people for locations and asking people to help us, and they did help us, and really they thought I was just making another video, because it was just like that. It was just Robert, the camera, and myself, and I mean there were not huge problems, because the problems came to me, and I fixed them. So the guns were a little bit of a problem, but as we fixed we fixed the issue with that. We got the permits, but other than that, everything was it wasn't smooth. Again, I had to produce. There were a lot of things that they were not ready the next day, and it was my fault or my friend's fault. Most of the time, obviously, it's not the producer's fault. It's other people that you have to deal with, and they promise you one thing or another. But that's the thing that I had to deal with.
You mentioned during your the talk after the screening a scene that you had to go in. You'd killed 6 people.
Yes.
And there was a direction from Robert Rodriguez. Can you recall that moment again for us?
Yes. He said, "How would you do this scene?" And I said, "Well, I just killed 4 men, so I was like overacting." So I was like doing it like, I just killed the 4 men, and he turned around and goes, no, we have to do it this way. So then I went to the fact you go down and you go. I just killed 4 men. Obviously, I didn't, not with this voice, but with my younger voice. But that's what I would do now. Because it's cinema, it's not theater. You gotta be more underacting.
And moving moments. You mentioned during the talk about your mother passing away.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that.
it's fine. It's just me.
How did it affect you?
Well, it did affect me because she only went to one premiere, and I would go to Hollywood, and I would go to many parties, and she was not with me. So now I regret that.
You mentioned that you went. After the success of El Mariachi, you did another film.
Single action.
Yeah.
Well, I did Desperado with $7 million, but then I did single action for $11,000.
Which one did you prefer? Which one was most enjoyable?
No, both. Because in Desperado, you got the money, you got the perks, and you got all this nice stuff, and then, independent is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. I like the studios because of one thing, and I like independent so it's really, I like them both. It's really difficult to say I like one or the other. I think because there's so much things. In general, if you say what do you like about independent filmmaking, that we can control it more, and with studios, well, we can't control it that much. But that's, I'm sure that's not what you mean. You mean personally, what do I enjoy? And I do enjoy. I do enjoy the perks of the studios.
And
who doesn't?
What was it like working with Robert on the bigger film? Did he change? Was he the same person?
He had more pressure. We had more pressure. So obviously we change because we have more responsibilities. And that's a given. We do change, and then we have to change our personalities with other people, and we have to be more responsible. But it's the responsibility that really pushes you to now say, okay, this is on me, and people are trusting me. And I think that it's not that you change or that you become egotistic. It's just, you just have to play that part. You have to be responsible, and being responsible, like I said, it's not easy. Being a leader is not easy.
You mentioned ego during the talk. Can you elaborate?
Well, ego. If you're ego for me, I can be very egotistical, but I know where to use it. But I'm very humble naturally. I'm a humble man. But have I had ego in the past? Yeah. I think ego can happen at any moment. At any moment you could have ego, and that's a problem. I think you need to control yourself, and I think if you control yourself, then that's important.
Very quick last questions. You mentioned, apparently there was a mention of God, philosophy, or
yes.
Can you describe that very quickly?
I'm just very spiritual. I believe in God, and I believe in quantum physics as well, and I study quantum physics, and I think there's a link, and that's all I can say about that.
And what's next? Future steps?
I'm gonna stick with my team, and obviously the next after Alita, there's the Robert Rodriguez film that I did. Which I don't even know if I should say that. But I just did. Maybe you shouldn't put that. It's on... we collaborated in another film. And it's supposed to be... Let me say that again, so you can actually use it correctly. I just worked with Robert Rodriguez, and it's supposed to be a surprise. And that's all I can say.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Don't manipulate my.
Oh no!
I'm gonna
Thank you.
stick
it as it is.
Because then I'll
Do you want me to look straight to the camera or to you?
To the camera's good, yeah, make it intimate. Tell us about Raindance Film Festival.
Hey, Raindance is right here in the center of London. We've got all kinds of films from all around the world. And those are the press boards, and we're expecting some fairly interesting people this afternoon, which makes it fun.
Why did you create Raindance?
Made Raindance trying to shine a spotlight on all my filmmaking friends who were making movies with zero money, no film school training, and no film experience. Filmmaking, you see, is actually, it's not difficult. All you do is point a camera like that at actors. That's all you do. But there's so much mystique in the movie industry. The movie industry likes to keep people like you out because they lose their jobs. But everyone can make a movie now, which is very good. It's also very bad because cameras, like the one on your cell phone, we've got many films here at the festival shot on this camera, means there's so many films out there and so much harder to get noticed.
Tell us about your jury.
The jury. We've got an amazing jury this year, sort of divided in half. We've got we've got so-called celebrities and names, some pretty interesting people. They're on our website, and we also have the workhorses from the industry. We actually have someone over here, Lawrence Folders. This guy is from America. He's a writer, director, producer, and he's the guy that runs the student Oscars, which makes me faint.
Yes, I'm very happy to be on the jury here. I think that what Elliot and the festival is doing is really wonderful, and the festival is an Oscar qualifying festival. So basically, it's something very unique for filmmakers to be able to have a winning film and qualify for the Student Academy Awards and also for the short film Oscar at the Academy.
What did you guys have for breakfast?
What do we have for breakfast today?
I know what I had. What did you have?
I know what I had too, but I don't know if I'll say.
I always have a big breakfast, oats and nuts and fruit and
My
almond
my breakfast was films.
milk. And I had his sprocket holes. How about that?
What's happening in the future? What next?
Virtual reality, virtual reality, virtual reality.
And films will never go away in traditional manner, which is just being expanded by the different technologies, VR and so forth. So we have different types of films, different types of processes, but it's all storytelling.
Well, thanks for coming. Enjoy. Please tell your friends about what we do at Raindance. We also have the film school classes throughout the whole year, and anyone can make a movie.
In a few words, what are your philosophies of life?
My philosophy in life, never listen to the word no.
And my philosophy of life, which is about life and it's also about filmmaking and storytelling, is to follow the passion that's in your heart.
That's true.
Not to copy, but be original and
Do what you love.
do the films, because if you're passionate about a film, then actors will be passionate about it. That passion will go into the lens and it will translate to the audience. And to follow your gut instinct, because your gut instinct is usually the right one.
In your career, what are the most difficult moments? Can you identify one memory that really stumbled?
One memory when I did not follow my gut instinct.
Yeah.
And I chose to listen to the powers that be in the executive offices. As a director, I followed their instruction, and ultimately the film was not the way it should have been. And it's again about not having regrets, and I will forever now follow my gut instincts so that I never have any more regrets in my life. It's an action film that I did called Night Force. It was a follow-up to one of my favorite films called Young Warriors. And it was my favorite of scripts that I've written, and in the end, it was not my favorite of films that I directed. But this is why I say that you need to follow what you believe in and stick to it.
I've made so many screw-ups, I'd be here all day. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good? Yeah. Chris O'Dowd's coming at 6, and Amanda Seyfried and the director of Mamma Mia are coming.
Okay, Chris O'Dowd also.
That's Sky TV, yeah. Sky TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to
This podcast is sponsored by Camera Museum of London at 44 Museum Street. Thank you for listening to a Fish Out of Water podcast. This is your host, Richard Lipman. Should you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please get in touch.